All right. Well, I think it's about time to create some channel art. This is going to be probably a combo channel art and something else avatar image, I guess. I might just select out of here. I might just create another image for that. But, being an illustrator, I think I desperately need some channel art here. And, the gaming site is looking a little bit, what's the word? I guess dull because there's no art. Anyway, so I went on YouTube. YouTube created a pretty good link for creating channel art. I don't think I need to make a tutorial on the different dimensions, but I have them all up right here. Basically, and I have this on a separate layer. This is going to be somewhat of a Photoshop tutorial as well as a drawing tutorial and blah blah blah. I'm sure you'll get a lot out of this if you're looking to make your own channel art. So anyway, this section here, the 1855 width, I believe is the main. It's either for tablets or yeah, I think that's for tablets. The one just inside of that right here is going to be for the mobile devices, the phones. And if you just follow that whole square out to the edges, that's going to be what most computers see. The entirety of this image, everything in this darker gray right here, it's going to be on TVs. They'll see it. If someone looks at your full channel art, they'll see that. So let's get into it. I created this layer. I'm going to strobe light it. Hopefully no one gets epileptic seizures. And then I'll learn to talk someday. Anyway, I put that on a normal layer, but I reduced the opacity, and I can reduce it further if I'm not liking how it's looking. But I want that on during the sketch phase of this, and I'm going to create a layer just between my white layer that's on the bottom, that's my background, and this layer, which also, by the way, I considered doing this in multiply, which would have been fine. But I kind of felt like it was the same thing, and multiply is sort of going to affect the underlying image a little bit differently if I start to lay down color. I don't think it's a big deal either way you do it. So the opacity's, sorry, the fill is a little bit down. I'm not sure why I do that over opacity. I sort of feel like on layers it's the same thing. There is a difference when you switch opacity and fill on a brush, though. Anyway, so let's get right into it. Razwit is a name I've been using now for a bit, but basically it was a fake word I created in Scrabble to try and dupe my opponents. It didn't work, but it was so late that day. I was just giddy, and I don't know, it was a word that sort of stuck with me. I laughed a lot that I was even attempting this sort of dunce move, and it became a weird comic book character, sort of a comedy anti-hero, and oh man, I hate this brush I'm using. I'm not sure why it refused to change sizes for a bit there. I'm actually going to reduce the opacity on this a little bit. But anyway, he became a comic book character, and then eventually I used him for my animation class when I was in community college. So then it sort of accidentally became my screen name on DeviantArt, which I've had for, I want to say, since 2004, 2005. That's not nearly a big enough smile. And it just sort of stuck with me, so now I'm using it for all my screen names. and now we have a cool character to use as sort of a branding element. And I kind of want to reduce this whole thing down a little bit, or just drag this over. I'm sort of picturing Razwit's going to be holding, whoops, I don't want to do that. He's going to be holding like a video game controller and like sort of Kamehameha or Hadouken pose. So I want his arm back right in here. Would you have your arm up? Probably have your arm up a little bit, like this. And we can have this other arm coming down a little bit forward. The upper arm's going to be right here. I'm not sure if I want to get into a lot of these tutorials, though I was thinking of it, just for the sake of, you know, spreading the knowledge of how to produce art. But I'm a little hesitant to call it art. I guess illustration is probably more accurate. Anyway, I still don't like this pose. Kind of like it in here. His hand should be right in here, so I need to figure out what angle he's going to come in on. Anyway, you know, I want to spread that knowledge, and you know, it took me so long to get to the point I'm at right now, and I mean, every time I improve, I feel like I still have so much further to go because I see so many better artists than me, and I want to just keep on keeping on. And I hope to be like, you know, just in illustration. And I mean, I have some aspirations elsewhere, but just in the realm of illustrative art, I would like to be hesitant to say a household name. I mean, illustrators don't really have household names anymore, but like a Drew Struzan type, I guess. That's like the goal, is to be that name that you reference. Frank Frazetta is another one that I think of. Norman Rockwell is probably the most famous because he kind of bridged the gap between illustrators and fine art, or illustration and fine art. And I feel some of my work does that as well, but you know, we'll see what happens in the future. Anyway, kind of losing my train of thought here. But yeah, so back to like, I do want to spread that knowledge, but at the same time, I want to make videos that inspire not just artists, but a wide group of people. I think there's a lot of people out there who maybe could use a little bit of motivation in their life. They don't know what they're doing, where they're headed, sort of lost. And I feel like YouTube is a good platform to help them out. I'm just going to flip this image real quick and totally hit the incorrect shortcut. Anyway, I think YouTube is a great platform for that, and I think it's also a great platform for entertainment. I'm really inspired by the YouTube personality Zay Frank. I think he releases a lot of videos that are both inspirational and hilarious. He's a really good example of what I would like to achieve as a YouTuber. And we'll see where that goes. I'm really inspired by the guy, and I would like to kind of help proliferate that feeling for those who may not, I don't know, like they want more, they want more of the same, or maybe they just don't want that particular YouTube personality. I don't know. But either way, I think it's good stuff what he's doing. I want to add to that, I want to contribute, and there's a lot of people. Hank Green, I think, is doing a great thing with SciShow. That has inspired me. Just kind of getting knowledge out in the world. It's a good thing. I think we can all benefit from things like YouTube, just like not restricting knowledge to anything, such as schools or just institutions you have to pay a lot of money for, because basically what that does is exclude people without money. And I think that's wrong, at least on some level. Like I went to school basically on the back of scholarships, so I'm sure it's very possible to attend school without money in pocket at first initially. However, it is very difficult, and if you don't know the ins and outs of like what to do, where to go, who to talk to, I mean, it's going to be really difficult for people, and it's not necessarily the most efficient method of learning what you want to learn. However, it's a good place to branch out and like get different perspectives on the world, because there's a lot of intelligent people that attend, as well as a lot of intelligent people who are professors at universities. So I don't know, like I'm not anti school at all. I certainly think I benefited quite a bit from attending. So I kind of like where this is going. Back to the artwork. I am going to reduce the opacity on this, and I don't know, his jacket's looking a bit like wings. I think I want to stop that, cut that out. I don't really like that part. I sort of want him to have a more crazy pose. Razwit is like really sort of a clown type character. I mean, not an actual clown, but like just a total freaking dunce, and does a lot of ridiculous things. So I sort of want him to be, I don't know, like I imagine him like playing another game with his foot or something. I would love to kind of suggest that I could be this good at video games. Oh yeah. And I might adjust like the spacing of all this too. I kind of want to, let's make sure we're kind of in some sort of suggested perspective a little bit. Let's tilt him just so this, I don't want the keyboard to be off there, and let's reduce this a little bit so we get the whole image. Yeah, I like that with the controller in the top right, and then we have the computer in the bottom left. It seems good to me. Seems real good. Not particularly liking the anatomy on this. I think needs either a shorter thigh here or a longer shin. He's taken his shoe off. Where does he put his shoe? I think I'm gonna put his shoe back here, or like the mouse like just completely in the incorrect location. I think I want this is just a ridiculous scene, so I kind of want the mouse. I'm gonna hold down shift so I get a decent straight line there. And you know, most monitors are flat now. I was kind of considering doing this like blocky thing, but my monitor is not that way at this point, and I think like basically unless you're working on something extremely old, which I was up until like 3 weeks ago, but that was an accident, by the way. Like if you hold down shift, by the way, if you don't know this about Photoshop, you can hold down shift, like do a point like that, and then hold down shift over here, boom, and just touch the screen. It'll draw a big line for you. And if you have a opacity set to pen pressure, that line will reduce, so it'll be like it's pointing at that area. But you can actually set up some like decent perspective if you have like a point of perspective, which that wouldn't be mine. But say my perspective is like his eyeball. No, it's not that. It's like right here, right? I can like go to any point and just be like, yeah, that's my perspective going there. And I mean, I'd want to use a different brush, but anyway, you could do that over and over and over, get yourself a nice little grid, put it on a separate layer, and then, you know, throw buildings up around that, or you know, in this case, I want a computer. I'm gonna kind of, this is not really what the back of my monitor looks like, but I do want to sort of throw something in there. And I'm flipping the image every now and then, by the way, just to keep my eyes fresh. The old masters used to do similar things, looking mirrored object. So I kind of, you know, it's the same thing. It's like it just resets your brain to what you're looking at to make sure you're drawing correctly. A lot of the times, and I'm getting so much better at this now. I'm like kind of I'm surprising myself, because it used to be I draw a face, you know, and this particularly happens when you're trying to get like symmetrical, because a pose like this, it's like really hard to make it lopsided. You just need to kind of know what both sides of the face are doing. But I draw a face and I'd be like, yeah, that's even, and then I'll flip it and it looks totally off. It's like, oh no, there's a lump on his head, and you know, whatever. But you know, in a situation like that, you should probably just draw the general, like what's going on generally in the shape, draw one half and flip that, like copy and flip that image. Anyway, I sort of like this as the base. Kind of want a little bit more movement in here, and I kind of want the whole image to come down a little bit into, because I like this negative space that's going on in here in this box area. And I'm gonna move this back again. That gets the computer into the image. That keeps the, I tilt this too. It keeps the it keeps the computer in the image. It keeps the controller in the top right, and I don't want his head dead center of this whole thing. Basically, when you put something dead center, and he, like, his head's the focal point, and I'll get into like what you would generally do for that, but generally you want the focal point to be off of center, because if you put it in the center, it feels somehow unnatural. It feels like there's not really a lot of weight to it, though I don't think it would affect the image, this one, too much in a negative way, but I just want to avoid it, because it can make it look stagnant. I don't want that to happen. And again, our perspective is like really right here. So if I'm being realistic with this wall, I guess it would be, and again, this is kind of where that tool comes in handy. And that's going to be the top. I tilted everything a little bit, not much, but And this is like what I'm drawing right now is a sketch. It's gonna go under everything, and I don't know if I want him to even be in a room. Like I could. What if I just had like a room's so boring. I kind of want, and I'm doing all this on the fly. By the way, I didn't really have a plan going in. I just had like a general idea. But what I'm thinking is I want his desk to be visible, right? So he's working on a desk, and maybe his like tower is back here or something. Because my computer's a tower. Makes sense. And it has some drives in there and something, and then like some ports. I don't know. We'll clean that all up later. I'll also probably add like some sort of vent system here. I do want to erase this desk back here. It's kind of confusing me. Not badly. It actually sort of helps. See, this perspective is actually wrong. So I've been telling you wrong this whole time, because now I'm looking at the desk. I'm like, the desk seems right, and then I'm like putting the perspective line up here, so that means the desk should like come all the way down here. So I kind of want to get rid of like everything. Oops. I don't want to erase his heel though. This is what happens when you go into a drawing without like a thumbnail. But yeah, this desk, I like where the desk is pointing actually better than where the computer was pointing. I'd like to get that sort of, and by the computer I mean like the bottom of the computer right here. So let's do that. Let's figure out where that should lie. Ooh, that was a bit off. I don't know. Like it sort of reads correctly, which is kind of weird. But it's not right, and I want to fix it. So let's get that perspective there. That's his desk. That's his desk. Kind of seems wide. It's just so close. It's like getting so extreme. What do I do? Let's not have the desk all the way. I think I have the solution. We're gonna have the desk corner be right here, and the desk is gonna end right here. And that doesn't look right, but it's because of the extreme perspective, and it doesn't really matter. It's like we're gonna add all sorts of junk. It's gonna make the perspective kind of totally useless here. Not useless. Perspective is always necessary, but we just want it to, and this should recede in the distance somehow too. Probably like that. We want it to read correctly, and that's the main desire here. And if we don't get the perspective exactly right, that's fine. This is sort of a cartoony expressive drawing anyway. See, this should now follow this. Okay, I'm kind of getting a grasp on what's happening here, and now this is all going back the distance like this. Yeah, this desk is looking better now. This started out looking kind of thin up here, but I feel like I've successfully hidden it. Let's make this desk look really weird. We don't really need a bunch of detail in here, and in fact, I think I'm going to blur most of that out. Again, we should be following our perspective to right here. So I'm just generally getting in there. Anyway, what I want to do in the background, I think, let's get his foot in here real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Like maybe touch on like some like video game cliches or something. Like maybe a castle with a dragon in the distance. And it's not just video game. Like my gaming channel also will eventually include tabletop games, um, as it's kind of a big part of what I do professionally. Um, and I would like to include as much of that as possible. You know, I've worked on for the past 2.5 years an RPG called Heroes Tears. I mean, I've done like, oh man, how many characters? I want to. This might be a lie. I want to say I've done like nearly 400 characters and creature designs um, for Heroes Tiers. That's probably accurate. I don't know the exact number. It's a lot. I mean, I've been working for the past 2.5 years. That's my primary project, and it's finally releasing. Um, Labor Day. It's gonna be 2014 Labor Day this year. Um, so that's extremely exciting for me. Um, and you know, that's a tabletop RPG. I've also worked on a. It's sort of a board game. It's like a board game slash card game. I don't know exactly what to call it. It's called Romance of the Nine Empires. That was an AEG project. So anyway, and you know, like Magic the Gathering is like my favorite game to play at all. Video game, card game, or anything. So, that's, I mean, with my my professional work considered, with that, it's got to be part of it. So I want like a fantasy theme in here, and what's gonna happen is I'm just gonna get like, well, I kind of want to keep it in here too. Let's get some structures in here, and then like some big ones off here, or like a dragon or something. Like maybe I don't want anything out here. Who knows? But I know I do want my horizon line right in here. Let's make it another layer just to keep that horizon line erasable, basically, so I can avoid the character. That's all I really wanted to do. I'm going to reduce the fill on that as well. Whenever I say fill, I kind of think PHIL. Anyway. Let's get off that layer. That's just my horizon. I'm just creating all sorts of is it horizon or horizon? Horizon. It's something. It doesn't matter. You don't need to spell correctly in here. You just need to title it. This is my sketch layer. I should be doing these as I go along. I'm kind of getting caught up in talking to everyone. It's kind of hard to draw too while I talk. I'm great at listening when I draw, but like way better than I am when I'm not doing anything. Out. And dimensions, and yeah. So it's weird to me that I'm like kind of having a difficult time talking, like just discussing things naturally. So I'm just gonna kind of put some aesthetically pleasing lines up in here. I want like a castle or something. I want to keep this simple too. Like this needs to get done quickly. It's not something that needs to be like super detailed. I do want a structure in here that sort of, I wanted to enhance this negative space that his hair is giving. I like that. It kind of goes through his hair. It gives me all sorts of spiky things to look at. It's pretty cool. And it gives me a big pointed line directing at this computer, so I can look at this computer, and then I can see that his foot's right here. I can follow this curve up to his hands, and it kind of gives me a big loop to follow. This castle might be a problem, but we'll add some clouds or whatever to stop the eye from wandering too far. obviously this isn't the biggest deal. It just needs to exist, you know? Just want some weird towers. Like, they do not have to make sense in this image. Normally I would maybe be looking at reference images of medieval castles or whatever. I do want like a sci-fi thing too, like maybe maybe there's a big spaceship. I want it going towards him though. Let's just have a spaceship off in the distance. I might reduce the size of this also. I will definitely reduce the size of this. I'm not liking how this is going yet. Big spaceship. We have a wing of some sort, some like things under it to propel it up. Maybe it's like a hovercraft or something. And I'm thinking it's like a military ship because like it's a freaking video game, you know. When is it not violent? When it's good is the answer. This on video games. I mean, there's plenty of like, I think Uncharted 2 is like my favorite video game. It's violent as hell, but it's a fun one and it's an immersive experience. Like, you can have a good video game and have it be violent as well. It's just that's the go-to for video games, I feel, and I don't feel they've hit their full stride. Like, they have the potential to be like the next great platform for art, you know, as film was, and they're just not living up to what they should be, I feel. The main video game companies are not concerned with making anything that's not kind of a shooter sort of thing. Or I think that's just the go-to if it's not selling to young men with a lot of testosterone going through, like a lot of hormones happening, you know, it's not worth selling. I actually like this spaceship where it is. I'm gonna check it out slightly smaller, see what that looks like for me. Sort of like it in frame too. I don't know. Deselect. I don't like it tilted like that. Enter, deselect. Okay. Yeah, sort of like that. What does it look like over here? I could put it way out in the distance too. No, I kind of like it there. It needs to be faded out enormously, but all right, let's put a bunch of those in there. We're gonna hit Alt and just drag it over and make it smaller over here, and there's another one. And if I create another one right here, I'm actually gonna, oops, it's not doing exactly what I want, but I'm gonna make that smaller, have it overlap slightly by the other, and deselect. Should be good. I just wanted to emphasize, don't erase all the way, just use that opacity, fade it out a little bit. And again, I can turn this off. See, this is where the difference is between, so if I create another layer and I make that a multiply layer, because this was the other option, basically. It darkens everything rather than reducing the contrast. Oh wait, I'm sort of on 46%. So let's go to 46%. Sort of unfair. But it darkens the drawing and this reduces the contrast. You can do whatever. It's basically the same thing. It's just like how you're comfortable looking at it. For me, I add too much contrast all the time. I frequently end up with drawings with like just 100% black, or at least I did before I realized this about myself, and I didn't really like it. I'd end up with like 100% black on a bunch of stuff, and it just kills the detail and kills sort of the depth that you can achieve with a fully realized like value structure in your painting. Obviously this is not where that needs to be. Let's see if I follow this up to right there. That's where that point needs to connect. I just had that off a little bit. I don't know, this is like a fake sort of thing. Okay, I think I want to move on here to the next step and just start to get values down. I kind of like how this reads. You can see like I have a little image of this. I don't know, it seems interesting to me, and I'm liking how it is down here. So I'm just going to move on to a new layer, and I like how the layout is. So I'm going to actually reduce the opacity a little bit more in the sketch. And this is going to be my value layer. By the way, this value lay. This is not the only way to go about producing a drawing. There's basically 1,000,000,001 ways you can work with any given media. It's really up to you to mess around with the media enough to know how to go about that. So I'm just going to start. First of all, I want to change brushes because this brush is like totally unacceptable. By the way, I just got Photoshop CC upgraded from CS3, so you might see me like fumbling around like, what do I do? And I don't want to seem like a total moron. I don't know why they changed this feature in... Here it is. This is what I want. Or is it? Is this what I want? What the heck? This doesn't seem right at all. I do want this, but this doesn't... Yeah, that's drawing way too thick. What is this? That is definitely not right. Yeah, I don't know why they changed it. It used to be where like when you save new brushes, it would go right to the end, and like you knew the most recent brushes were on the end, and now you kind of have to search for them. I don't know if that's just like a setting to be changed, but anyway, I'm gonna go into transfer dynamics. I want the opacity set to pen pressure. I can also do the flow set to pen pressure. I'm going to do that for now. I normally don't, but I've started messing around with flow a lot more recently after watching some FCD School on YouTube. Highly recommend checking them out. They're, I think, for tutorials, no one beats them. Though you might like this. I don't know. Tell me how you feel about it. I could do more. It's not something I'm necessarily planning on, like not just hardcore tutorials, but anyway, I want to save this new brush preset as not fuzzy brush, but my go-to brush. This is gonna be my main. I made this out of a photo of just a bunch of rocks and ash, and basically I like the look of it above the typical like round fuzzy brush, or the hardness all taken off of it, the soft brush. So, and by the way, you could detail all this line work out. It's just, again, not a way I'm used to working, or not a way I guess not used to. It's not a way I think I found that worked for me. And I have tried it in the past. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm liking well, maybe. I might have to just set this to like some sort of different mode. I literally don't know what precision mode means on my my tablet, but for some reason when I got this new Photoshop, it became necessary to click that. One thing I want to do real quick here, I'm actually just going to overlay this with a multiply layer and fill it with this gray that I have. Whoops. And it's not letting me. Hold on. Okay. Just want to... Can I not fill? All fill. Why can't I fill? Photoshop hates me. I want to... I'm hitting Alt Backspace. I just want to fill it. Well, is it because I selected that? Normally, oh, here we go. Here we go. Figured it out. All right. So I just wanted that as like a tonal thing, and I could even go as far to add a gradient, and I kind of want to. Let's just do that. Why not? Let's do a gradient. I like where that's at right now. I'm going to pick this gradient. I want a gradient that goes like a band. And I'm just going to... boom. Oh, I want it reversed from that. Let's do that. Maybe not. That's a little extreme, I think. Let's cancel that, and then we're going to just pick a different... okay. I'm not sure why it's going to that color set. We definitely want to change how this is again, this is the first day I'm actually using this program, so I'll have to just ignore what's happening here and cancel that reverse. Oh my god. Or not. All the way to the end. All more. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, so I'm kind of fumbling around with this. Great time to do a tutorial. So let's get in here and do... I kind of want to select straight black again, because I can draw softer than it is. Yeah, and we're... I don't know how much I should talk about, like, fundamental stuff. I guess why not? Let's just get into it. Basically, if you're having like you're questioning like, oh man, how did he figure out like what position Razwit's arm should be in or whatever, like I'm sure this is, first of all, not exactly perfect. It reads correctly to me right now. And part of the reason for that is I'm acknowledging that this is like a cylinder shape. So if I like drew bands around that cylinder, like did sort of a wire mesh thing, I could maybe draw something like that. And when you get to, you know, like indicating that an arm is coming at you or something, like a shape is coming at you, like that becomes necessary because you can use like these overlapping shapes, these wrinkles, to indicate that. As well as you have this nice open cuff that he has on his coat, and that will indicate that his arm is pointed at you rather than away, because if his arm was pointed away, you'd have the coat going the opposite direction. Like I could have his elbow coming out here and then, you know, something like that, and then I'd have the cuff like pointed the opposite way, and I wouldn't have this like little like you couldn't see inside the coat, is what I'm saying. So stuff like that. And I mean, for this tutorial, I guess you really should know what you're doing with lighting. I mean, I'm gonna glaze over. I'll discuss lighting, but a good place for you to check out the fundamentals is enlighten.com with two I's, and that is run by an illustrator who goes by Darkin. His name is Mike Lynn. I think that's his name. I met him once. He will not remember at all because I mean, in the context, I was a fanboy. But unbeknownst to him, I was actually a professional illustrator at the time. It was not that long ago. It was actually last year, early last year. I want to say it was in May. That may not be correct. But anyway, I'm kind of adding lines here. I want to stay away from that for a little bit. Because if I'm adding in these tones, it's just going to go so much quicker. And I want to, like, that's one of the things, like, if you keep on adding detail, like just starting off with detail, the drawing will take you an actual eternity. And I get caught up in that a lot. And I want to avoid that, especially since, like, I'm not all the way zoomed in here, you know, like, if I zoom in, this does not look very good at this point. I need to stay general as long as possible. And this design is just going to come out when it comes out. So I'm just going to stick with, like, where the light is coming from. And right now, I kind of imagine the light coming from back here somewhere. I'll probably add another gradient over the top of everything, but, you know. The other thing is I'm getting some light off this computer, so I need to keep that in mind as I'm working, and I haven't up till this point, but I just now noticed it, and I want to treat that correctly. Razwit has dark hair, so I'm also not, well, you don't know, because I've never, like, posted anything with this character. I should probably do that. I should make animated stuff. Why not? I have a certificate in animation after all. Why would you not use that? Well, my passions were in other things at the time that I got that certificate. And now my passions are, you know, it's like always somewhere else when you're working on one thing. But anyway, back to the lighting situation. So I don't want to make him look too old. Let's just keep this pretty. He's a young guy. Like, he really is supposed to be like the mischievous side of me or something. And let's just get this. It's far too dark. But I mean, I'm working with jet black right here, and I'm just using the opacity to vary up the tones. And I'm going to switch to white after this and hit the highlights and then blend it all together. And that's basically going to give me everything I need to work with. And, you know, again, not necessarily the correct way to work. It's just the way I work right now. I can very well change how I work. Like, oh man, this is slowing down because of the recording. A little bit of lag. We're on a kind of a lengthy recording. I wonder if I should pause, because I'm like, this is like really laggy at this point. See, this leg, I'm unsure. I feel like this is a point where the cuff should maybe do that. Yeah, it's left. It's definitely left of the horizon line, and I feel like it's basically parallel to, or perpendicular, I guess, to the viewer's vision, the viewing eye. So let's do that, and I want to basically indicate that also with some of these lines. and this is gonna look like ugly, and it's kind of a video I want to do, but this is gonna, like, every drawing sort of has this ugly phase, I feel, where it doesn't really make sense and you feel like you want to quit. And I'm to the point where I realize that that's gonna happen with like everything, and if you just push through to the end on a drawing, it, I mean, just finishing it feels good, and then most of the time, like, if you just put in your max effort on any project, it's going to look good. You know, it's going to resonate with somebody. Oh man, this lag, boy. So, man, what else do you talk about in a freaking tutorial video? No one can know. No one will ever know. He sort of looks like Jack Nicholson in well, in general, but from Batman as the Joker. I kind of want to avoid that, but you know, it's the face I was going for basically. So let's keep it. Let's keep on it. Why not? So now this foot's extremely close to the computer. It's going to get a lot of white highlights. Not white, but, you know, close to. And now this computer's going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot I tilted everything. I could probably do a selection of this that might be faster. But I don't know. I'm just going to keep this painterly. I kind of want that look. I don't really want a look that appears as though I've selected everything crisply. I want this sort of chaotic feel. And sort of a traditional illustrator approach to everything. I just sort of prefer it, and that's all that counts. So what I just did there, you might have noticed, I color selected, and the reason I'm doing this is just basically to get, I don't want this like textured look to this computer, so I just want to get down like flat values, sort of, because the screen is going to be like essentially glossy. And having that sort of, I don't know what to call it, feathered look, textured approach. I don't know. It doesn't look right, you know. And I could select it, but I feel like that makes it look a little too manufactured. I don't know. I'm starting to lose it, everyone, because it's been a long time recording. I'm like losing my train of thought a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is actually pause the recording and get the rest of these values in at another time. Let's just finish up this tower and then we'll be done. For now, we'll come back for the more finished values, and then later the color on this, which will be pretty easy to add. What if this computer had like a cool, well, you still kind of get that it's a monitor, or not a monitor, a tower. It's whatever it is. I like that. Why not? Why wouldn't you? And here I am color picking. I just want it to be somewhat smooth. And I'll be doing this everything later. I just wanted to start this off as a smooth look. See, I should go into like monitor, or God, PC design. Why wouldn't you want to like a little curvy device? Everything should have curves. They don't look aesthetically pleasing without curves. Let's get this in, and then I will be done. For now. Oh, man. Well, it's going to drive me crazy that I didn't finish off the hands there, but, you know. Basically, that's right. Here's just another look at what it's going to look like later. I still like the composition. Don't want to change it. So yeah, we'll come back for the rest of the values later. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more energy when we start back up, and I'll be able to talk to you all a little bit more as I go through this and have more to say. All right, have a great day. Bye.